I'm David Wolf. I'm chairman of the board of the Adams Museum House and president of the board of Deadwood History, the new historical entity in Deadwood. It's my pleasure to serve as master of ceremonies today here at the gold pour for the Potato Creek Johnny Nugget. It's an exciting day. Here we are in the Black Hills. We're kind of experiencing a new gold rush. Gold's over $1,500 an ounce. The wharf is expanding. New gold mines, perhaps on the edge of Spearfish Canyon. Prospectors in the hills looking for gold, like the gentleman from the Icebox claim. And so this gold excitement, we're taking some of that gold that's been found recently and turning it into a new historic artifact in the Black Hills, a new Potato Creek Johnny Nugget. So in a way, we're making history with the current activities. It's an exciting time, and I thank you all for coming. It's my honor now to turn this podium over, if that's what it is, to Chris Johnson, owner of the Clock Shop.
And it's truly my pleasure and the pleasure of my son Trevor. He's we're partners together in business at the Clock Shop. It's our pleasure to be here and to be a part of this. It's just, I have to pinch myself once in a while because I just really feel like I'm just a bystander watching this all happen. It's just been tremendous to see the merging of so many ideas and so many creative thinkers to make this happen. And in order to give you a little history behind how this all happened, I'll have to go way back. Several years ago, we met through our store and through our operation of buying gold, Charlie Ward and Byron Janice. And they are the two gentlemen who discovered the wonderful specimen that became nationally famous a couple of years ago in July of 2010, the Icebox Nugget, which many of you got a chance to see down here. One day in July, like they said, Charlie came into the store and it was just dirty from head to toe. I was waiting on a customer, and you know, up until that time, Charlie would bring in a few grains of gold here and a few grains there, and we'd buy it from him, and we had a good friendly relationship. But Charlie said, "Chris, I need to talk to you." And I said, "Well, I'm with somebody right now." Charlie, can I wait just a minute? Charlie had this little blue box in his hand, and he opened it up for about a split second, and then shut it again. And my eyes just about fell on my head. I knew what he had found, and I knew it had been from the Black Hills. And I said, "Why don't you go sit in my office, and I'll be right in." And I wrapped up my business as quickly as I could. Went into the office, got Trevor in there, and we went about the business of hearing the story of how they found that nugget, and then finding a way that we could purchase the nugget from them. That is our business, but we have more than an interest monetarily. We have an interest from an historic perspective. We always have. Through this relationship, Charlie and Byron agreed to let us take this public and tell the story to the public. They were a little squeamish about becoming objects of attention of the media themselves and letting possibly people find out where their secret mining hole was. But you know, they've been very gracious through this process, and it's been very fun. Since that decision to go public, this did spread like wildfire. Hit over 100 newspapers, made national news, and through that, we came to be requested to let that nugget be displayed at the Journey Museum in Rapid City, and that was a very well-attended show. But the most beautiful part of that was that the Adams Museum, and Dr. Wolf especially, agreed to work hard to get the Potato Creek Johnny Nugget out of its dark chasm in the vault up at the Adams Museum and put it on display publicly for the first time in a long time. And that went on display beside our nugget. And at that time, we had a little pool of placer gold underneath it, and that grew and grew. But a few months later, they said, "Well, we'd like to do another show up in Deadwood." We did that. It was, I believe, a 3-hour show, and I think it drew over 300 people to that show. It was just tremendous to see how much interest there was in those two nuggets. And after that show, Mary and Trevor and I were sitting around with our arms crossed in the dark room thinking what a great deal that was. And Mary touched on the fact that it's difficult these days, especially during the recession, to raise funds for the museum. And they'd love to be able to show that nugget all the time. So I have to give credit where credit is due. Trevor was the one with the first idea. He said, "Well, you know, we could auction the placer gold off and see what we could come up with." And, you know, me having a talent for one-upsmanship, I couldn't resist. And I said, "Or better yet, we've got enough gold there that if the Adams Museum was willing, we could cast a one-time only exact specimen of the Potato Creek Johnny Nugget." And then I handed the ball off to Mary, and Mary said, we can auction it off in Deadwood sometime towards the end of next year. And my gosh, one thing led to another. Pretty soon we were with the board of the Adams Museum. They gave us their blessing, and then we handed that ball off to so many different people who are here, and some who aren't, but who have played such a key role in this. There's a quote that I'd like to share with you from Napoleon Hill, great American author. And he said, "Whatever man can conceive and believe, he can also achieve." We wholeheartedly believe that. And we've taken that thought forward, and now we're to the point where we reached another quote of Napoleon Hill. He said, "Patience, persistence, and perspiration are an unbeatable combination for success." We're here today to kick off this nugget as being a successful event to raise money for two great causes, for the Adams Museum and for the Wounded Warriors Project. There's good reason why the Wounded Warriors Project is a part of this, and Mary will embellish on that as she speaks. But I am excited about it. We're all excited about it. We hope that after you witnessing the pouring of this nugget today, that you'll see how exciting it is to you, and you can help us to spread the word locally, regionally, and even nationally, to gather bidders together so that we can raise as much money as possible for these two great causes. We've been through the patience part. We're entering in the midstream of the persistence part, and in a few minutes, the great people from Black Hills Grounds are going to get to the perspiration part. It's a hot room back there. And I just thank you all for being here. I thank you for letting me speak before you and be a part of this. And now you're a part of this as well. And with that, I would like to turn it back over to Dr. Wolf. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure now to introduce Mary Kopko. For years, Mary Kopko was the director of the Adams Museum, and then the Adams Museum House, then the Adams Museum House and Homestake Adams Research and Cultural Center. Now Mary has a new hat that she's wearing, the head of the Deadwood Historic Foundation. Without further delay, it's my pleasure to introduce Mary Kopko.
First of all, thank you, Chris, and thank you, Trevor, for having such a wonderful vision. The value of the gold and all the services that they have donated is well over $40,000 that will help us create the PCJ2, the Potato Creek Johnny 2. Well, 17 years ago, when I first started working for the Adams Museum, my board gave me the opportunity to do something no other curator had done before, to display the original Potato Creek Johnny Nugget. For 61 years, guests to the museum only saw a ceramic facsimile of the nugget. And over the years, most people believed the real nugget ceased to exist. Back in 1934, when Potato Creek Johnny sold the 7.346 troy-ounce nugget to pioneer businessman W.E. Adams, the nugget was donated to the new Deadwood Museum, named in Adams' honor. The original nugget, however, was stored in a bank vault and never saw the light of day until 1995, when hundreds of people converged on the Adams Museum to see what seemed like the Black Hills version of the Shroud of Turin. Ever since that time, it has been my dream to figure out a way to permanently display the original nugget, considered by Black Hills antiques expert Jim Atlin as the single most valuable artifact of Black Hills history in existence today. And Jim's wife, Peg, is here with us today. Now on September 22nd, 2012, at Deadwood Mountain Grand, and with the assistance of Rick and Margie Olson with Dakota Plains Auctions, we will auction off the PCJ2. And the funds raised will give the Adams Museum and Deadwood history the opportunity to construct a highly secure space to exhibit the original Potato Creek Johnny Gold Nugget and to establish an endowment to forever preserve the nugget as well as Deadwood's history. The other half of the proceeds will benefit the Wounded Warrior Project, an organization with a mission to foster the most successful, well-adjusted generation of wounded warriors in this nation's history, with programs uniquely structured to nurture the mind and body and encourage economic empowerment and engagement. Last summer, Sergeant Justin Shellhammer stopped by the cloth shop where he shared his incredible story with Chris Johnson. Shellhammer enlisted in the U.S. Army and trained in the military police. He was deployed to Afghanistan for Operation Enduring enduring freedom. And on April 5th, 2005, when walking in front of a group of soldiers, Shellhammer spotted a mortar round on the ground. Imagine extending your arm in a gesture to warn the soldiers behind you and feeling the impact of another person bumping you, pushing you slightly off balance. Consider regaining your balance and stepping on a very active landmine with your left foot. Like too many unfortunate soldiers, Shellhammer lost his leg as a result. But unlike most amputees, only a month later, Justin Shellhammer ran 2 miles. And the following September, he ran in a 4.5K race to benefit the families of firefighters and policemen killed on September 11, 2001. Shellhammer attributes this determined spirit, along with his sense of humor, to assistance from the Wounded Warrior Project. Please help me welcome Sergeant Justin Shellhammer.
Like she said, my name is Justin Shellhammer. I was injured in 2005 in Afghanistan, and it was my 3rd combat deployment. I was deployed twice to Iraq, and nothing happened to me there. So the 3rd one, I was thinking nothing was going to happen. And like every good thing, things must come to an end. And I stepped on a landmine, which most of you probably seen. Be walking around, I lost my left leg 6 inches below the knee. After I got injured, I went to Walter Reed in Washington, D.C., and the Wounded Warrior Project goes around to the hospital rooms and gets the wounded soldiers kind of pumped up about getting back on your feet and getting back out into life again. And the Wounded Warrior Project showed me that there was life after being injured, and they helped with the transportation to New York City to do the run and go to baseball games to let other people know that just because you're injured doesn't mean you're going to sit at home and sit in the corner and cry yourself to sleep every night. I'm probably one of the most active folks you can ever meet. I'm a police officer at Fort Meade, one of the only police officers in the state of South Dakota. Well, I am the only police officer in the state of South Dakota that is an amputee. I'm state and federal certified, and that was a big accomplishment for myself because I had to basically jump through a lot of hoops to prove to folks that I'm able to go do this. And the Wounded Warrior Project is what helped me prove to not only myself, but to other folks that if you have a little bit of confidence in me, I can prove you wrong every time. And I run 1 mile in 5.5 minutes. That's a lot better than some people 2 legs. Run 2 miles in 13 minutes flat. So everybody has accomplishments, I guess. So, but I also I can't say thank you enough to the Wounded Warrior Project to get you out there, kind of, let you know that just because something like this happens doesn't mean you have to give up on your dreams. I wanted to be a police officer ever since I was a little kid. And this little paper cut I have that my kids call, it wasn't going to stop me from being a police officer. I'm too stubborn, and I'm too young. And to have the Wounded Warrior Project behind me the whole way and giving me the courage and the dedication and having the support channels and to be there for me, and if I ever need any help or assistance or anything like that, they're here to help my kids out with college scholarships and help me out if I ever need employment, move into another state. And they do so many things for you. And to be a part of this, and I had it great when I was injured, when I first got injured, and kind of like pay it forward to make sure there's going to be money and resources for other veterans, because let's face it, there's never going to be a time where there's not somebody injured. So make it better than what I had it. It's great to be a part of that and be here to help make that better for the folks coming behind me. So I'm glad to be able to be part of it.
It's my pleasure now to introduce the co-owner of the finest host establishment here. I rode up with a group of people from Deadwood who pulled in and said, well, I didn't know this was here. I didn't know this little gem in the Black Hills existed. I think there's lots of gems, and this is one of the great ones, the Black Hills Bronze. It's my pleasure to introduce the co-owner, Kristen, Don, and Standard, who will explain what's going to go on and will direct us further on. When we're done in there, please make sure you come back for the reception.
Hi everybody, welcome to our facility. We're so happy to have you here. I won't tell you all the details. If anybody would like to have a tour when we're finished, I can take you all through media or otherwise and just show you the process in person. We can do that pretty quickly. But the short story is we took the gold material that the clock shop provided. It was tested at metals facility that does that. Tested the purity, got the impurities out of it. All of that was done off-site. What we did here was we molded the original nugget, which you see down there in the case, and just like we would do a piece of artwork for bronze replicas. So we made a mold, and then we made wax replica of the actual nugget, made sure it looked exactly like the original, dipped it in a ceramic shell material and silica sand, which is what we do for bronze as well. That provides, after you do enough layers of it, that creates another mold that can take the heat. So we did that, and then we cured that shell. That shell is now, right now, in the kiln, heated up to 1600 degrees. Right now, the gold, the placer gold that the clock shop had, is melted in a tiny little crucible in a little melt furnace down there. So what we're going to do now is we'll set the press up. If you could go first, you guys will get your camera set up in a spot where nobody will trip on you. And then we'll have the people come in around them. We'll let them set up for a second, and we'll call you, the rest of you in.
Once this cools down enough, we're going to move it off the part.
So you just sandblasted it to make it more uniform, or just to help
to get the ceramic shell out of
all the
crevices and stuff.
Okay.
Now what do you do now? Bathe it, cut them, and polish it?
Yeah, I'm going to start with cutting these off, and then I'll have this to look at to
get it.
Make sure if there's any important detail in those areas, and get it back.
Okay, let's go do that. and his son Trevor are the ones who bought the Icebox Nugget, and they're the ones that came up with the idea to make the PCJ2.